Progress can sometimes seem slow. We're moving forward toward our goals one step at a time. Because the necessity to balance the needs of people and nature in Oregon's forests is great. Cavenham Forest Industries believes achieving this balance is important because Oregon's forests are a resource worth conserving.
Yeah!
Finally, final arguments in the Simpson trial. The prosecution confronts the Furman issue head-on.
Is he a racist? Yes. Is he the worst LAPD has to offer? Yes.
And the picture that led Judge Ito to pull the plug on live television coverage.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
And this is a special Western edition. Good evening. The jury has seen the evidence. Now the prosecution is piecing it together, trying to convince the jury that O.J. Simpson is guilty of 2 brutal murders beyond any reasonable doubt. As Marcia Clark began closing arguments today, she tackled straight away the Furman issue and the glove try-on fiasco. But with millions of Americans tuned in, Bill Whitaker reports it was the judge who stole the show, at least for a while. Bill?
Dan, after threatening so many times to cut the courtroom camera, when Judge Ito actually did it briefly today, it was a real shock. But before he pulled the plug, prosecutor Marcia Clark started off her closing arguments by apologizing profusely to the jury. The panel began the jury selection process exactly 1 long year ago today.
And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have been through so much. You have made a tremendous sacrifice.
She reminded them not to be swayed by emotion, then waded directly into the emotional minefield named Mark Furman, the ex-LAPD detective exposed by the defense as a racist.
In fact, do we wish there were no such person on the planet? Yes. But the fact that Mark Furman is a racist and lied about it on the witness stand does not mean that we haven't proven the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And it would be a tragedy if, with such overwhelming evidence, ladies and gentlemen, as we have presented to you, you found the defendant not guilty, in spite of all that, because of the racist attitudes of one police officer.
Then Clark began to weave her story, pulling together her threads of evidence, laying out her timeline for murder. The wail of Nicole's dog, she said, set the murders at about 10:15.
Which means that if that dog is barking like that and she's not tending to it, she's already dead.
Then Clark turned to Brian Cato Kalin, a witness sympathetic to Simpson, she said, who nonetheless gave damning testimony. It sounded like an earthquake to Kalin, but Clark said it actually was the sound of a panicked Simpson trying to hide the bloody glove and knife.
And in his haste, he ran right into that air conditioner that was hanging over that south pathway. And running into that air conditioner caused him to fall against the wall, making the wall of Cato's room shake.
She reminded the jury that limo driver Alan Park tried to rouse Simpson for about a half hour. Then, just after Cato heard those thumps, Park saw a 6-foot, 200-pound African-American enter Simpson's house.
Simple common sense tells you that the thumping, the glove, and the defendant's appearance on the driveway almost immediately thereafter are all part one set of events, all connected in time and space. You don't need science to tell you that. You just need reason and logic.
It all proved emotional for the families of the victims. Then, in this case full of surprises, perhaps the biggest yet, when the camera zoomed in as Clark detailed the cuts found on Simpson's hand, Judge Ito pulled the plug on TV coverage.
And I'm inclined to terminate the coverage at this time.
With the camera off, Marcia Clark described Simpson's conduct after the murders, saying it showed a consciousness of guilt. She said he lied to limo driver Park about oversleeping, left blood around his house, sat bolt awake on the red eye while everyone else slept. She said he made up a story about a broken glass in Chicago to explain cuts to his left hand. And perhaps most damning, when called by police and told of the murders, Clark said Simpson didn't ask how, he didn't ask who, he didn't ask where. None of the questions an innocent man would ask. When Ito allowed the camera back on, Clark attacked the defense conspiracy theory. She called it ridiculous that Mark Furman would have or could have planted that bloody glove at Simpson's house, the glove which so incriminates O.J. Simpson.
And on this glove, he is tied to every aspect of the murder. To Ron Goldman, to Nicole Brown, to to the car. And of course, that's why the defense has to say that the glove is planted. Because if they don't, everything about this glove convicts the defendant.
And so, Clark says, did that memorable courtroom glove demonstration.
If I were asked to put on the gloves, the bloody gloves that were used to murder the father of my children, I would not be laughing. I would not be mugging. I would not be playing games. I wouldn't think it was funny at all.
With a courtroom exhibit, Clark said the blood, the hair, the fibers, all are pieces in a puzzle, all pointing to O.J. Simpson. Clark said these were not professional murders, these were slaughters. Simpson's ultimate attempt to keep his former wife under control so she could never slip away again. Dan?
Bill Whitaker at the courthouse. Now, for context and perspective on the Simpson case, we're joined now by two of America's best-known lawyers, CBS News legal consultants both. Former Indiana prosecutor Gregory Garrison is in Los Angeles tonight, and defense attorney Ted Wells is with me here in New York. First, Greg Garrison, the strength of Marcia Clark's arguments.
Well, Dan, I think it's absolutely clear that she did all that she needed to do at the beginning of this case today, to humanize herself, to step down from the mountain, to not be the boss, and to connect up with these people, at times taking on an almost humble visage as she began her introduction. The introduction wasn't very long, it was very effective, and it was followed by the beginning of a great job of telling the story and drawing pieces together. Of course, every circumstantial case is just that, puzzle pieces, and it's the job of the prosecutor or the proponent to put them into a picture. And by the time we get to where we are now and what we're hearing on the TV as we sit here at this moment, this puzzle is beginning to take on compelling clarity and dig in a pretty deep hole for this defendant to come out of when the baton and the podium get handed over to them probably a day or so from now.
Gregory Garrison. Now, Ted Wells, I know that you agree Marcia Clark got off overall to a good start today, but what are the weaknesses?
Well, Marcia Clark's concession at the beginning that Mark Furman is a perjurer, is a racist, is a person who shouldn't even exist on the planet Earth, has the potential to come back and bite Marcia Clark. But because it was Miss Clark who put Furman on the stand in the first place. She embraced him, she vouched for his credibility, and it was only after Johnny Cochran proved to the jury that he was in fact a racist and a perjurer that Marcia Clark was forced to make the concession. So Mark Furman really tricked Marcia Clark. If she was tricked in that instance, perhaps she's a gullible person and she can't be believed even in her summation arguments.
You think that's what Johnny Cochran liked most about what he heard today?
No doubt about it.
Ted Wells, Greg Garrison, thanks. Part of the Simpson trial fallout is a growing demand for jury reform. Later, Eye on America looks at one state's answer. But next up, a reported framework for a possible peace agreement on Bosnia. And also ahead, a lawsuit charges he stopped his girlfriend's abortion and that authorities broke the law to help him do it.
Mary Clary thinks her zipper bags are the best and will never switch to Gladlock zipper bags.
That's right, never.
But, Mary Clary, what do you say we lock you in this phone booth here with either your bag filled with angry bees or a Gladlock bag filled with angry bees? You see that green color change seal there, Mary? That shows you the Gladlock bag is closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
You know, change is good. I'll take the Gladlock zipper bag.
Just kidding, Mary. When it really counts, only Gladlock has the yellow and blue make green seal.
It's a great time to be silver because you're over 50 and you haven't lost your edge. Now there's a Centrum made just for you. Centrum Silver for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
Peace talks on Bosnia threatened to fall apart right up to the last minute today, but in the end, President Clinton said he was able to announce an agreement in principle. Still, the war goes on, and there's no guarantee that this agreement will actually lead to peace. Correspondent David Martin covered the talks at the UN.
Prodded by Secretary of State Christopher, the foreign ministers of Bosnia, Croatia, and Serbia today took another painstaking step toward peace, agreeing on constitutional principles that would govern the state of Bosnia. No one is claiming peace is at hand, but it was good enough news to rate a presidential announcement.
Today's agreement moves us closer to the ultimate goal of a genuine peace. And it makes clear that Bosnia will remain a single internationally recognized state.
American and European diplomats who took part in the negotiations acknowledged such basic issues as how elections will be held still need to be worked out.
I can assure you that this document is not definitive on elections. It simply establishes the principle, and every word and every comma was fought out.
Meanwhile, the fighting drags on, and the bad blood among the negotiators continues to spill over.
We find among our negotiating partners at least 2 individuals already indicted by the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague.
And the toughest issue, dividing up the land which people have fought and died over, still lies in wait.
Officials say the negotiations will take weeks, if not months, and that some issues may never be resolved. Sarajevo, for instance, will likely remain a divided city like Jerusalem, a monument to a bitter war and an uneasy peace. David Martin, CBS News at the United Nations.
On another front, President Clinton had very little to say today when asked about Texas billionaire Ross Perot's move to create a ballot spot nationwide for a whole new third party. But privately, the president may get a kick and a political boost out of it all, at least for now. Eric Engberg has more about what's up, who's up, and why.
Second acts are tough to mount in politics, but Ross Perot says he'll try.
The Foreign Party Information Center may help you.
This time by forming a third party to run someone, not necessarily him, for president.
Tonight, we are going to start the process of creating a party for the independent voters.
The Texas tycoon got 19% of the vote last time, and friends say he's determined to remain a player by enticing someone of stature to run on his party's ticket. It led to immediate speculation that someone might be Colin Powell. He didn't say no.
Right now, he's trying to start an independent party, so why don't we, let's see what happens.
But political analysts noted that a well-known challenger who decided to run might shy away from a Perot connection.
One of the things a president should have is a sense of command. And if you are the hand-picked puppet, or could be attacked as such, of a Texas billionaire who's at least slightly eccentric, that diminishes your stature. It doesn't enhance it.
By forming a party, Perot could qualify for millions of dollars in federal campaign funds. The big 2 candidates feigned disinterest.
No, I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing.
He'll have to do whatever he wants to do, and the American people can make a judgment.
The early line was that a Perot party would benefit the Democrats.
If Ross Perot gets in the race, you will hear champagne corks popping at the White House. President Clinton desperately needs a multi-candidate field without Jesse Jackson in it.
That widely held assessment is based on polls showing that twice as many Republicans as Democrats would desert their party's nominee to vote for Perot if he ran. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
Japan's Daiwa Bank admitted today it lost more than $1 billion in unauthorized bond trading by an executive in its New York office. The trader has been arrested and faces U.S. federal charges. This case recalls the recent collapse of Britain's Barings Bank, but Japanese officials say Daiwa is much bigger and can absorb this billion-dollar loss.
Rice Krispie treats?
Melba made them.
Melba made them.
She's a hard-working gal. Took her 10 minutes. Said they were low fat.
Low fat, huh? Since when do you care about fat?
How do you think I keep my girlish figure?
Kellogg's Rice Krispies treats? What other cereal sounds so good?
Kellogg's Halloween Rice Krispies in special yellow and orange colors can make your Halloween scream.
American families have made their choice. Once again, they've chosen the Buick LeSabre as Family Circle magazine's Family Car of the Year. For reasons like safety, dependability, performance, and style, American families chose LeSabre as Family Car of the Year over every other sedan, foreign or domestic. Buick LeSabre, the American family car.
I'm 62. Can I still help prevent osteoporosis?
It's never too late for Caltrate. Caltrate Plus has the extra calcium you need, plus 6 nutrients essential for healthy bones, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
It's the Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl. Choose your favorite pasta from our special menu, then manja. Enjoy as many free refills as you want with free soup or salad and breadsticks. The never-ending pasta bowl, just $6.95 for a short time at the Olive Garden.
Remember this scene? Who could forget it? So why isn't it part of the Simpson trial? And what about that envelope?
Mr. Douglas, can you retrieve the envelope?
What was in that envelope? And why aren't these things part of the case? We'll take a look at the unseen evidence tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
Federal aviation investigators took off in a new direction today to try to solve the never-explained crash of U.S. Air Flight 427 outside Pittsburgh a year ago. They duplicated the flying conditions just before the Boeing 737 crashed by subjecting it to wake turbulence from a nearby Boeing 727. The wake turbulence, made visible in today's test by smoke generators, did affect the 737's flight, but experts say they doubt wake turbulence alone caused the crash of Flight 427, killing all 132 people on board. In Nebraska, a whole new dimension in the battle over abortion is unfolding. It amounts to a lawsuit charging local authorities with abortion harassment to keep a pregnant teen from having one despite her parents' consent. Correspondent Diana Olick has the story.
17-year-old Heath Mayfield wasn't prepared to be an unwed father last year, but he wasn't prepared to let his 15-year-old girlfriend have an abortion either.
I don't know, I just don't believe in him. It's not right.
That may be the prevailing opinion in this country community just north of Omaha, and that may be how Heath Mayfield and his family got the law on their side and allegedly forced the girl, who was asked not to be named, to have her baby against her will. Now she and her family are fighting back with a civil lawsuit.
Her constitutional rights were violated by the state of Nebraska.
Heath's mother, Kathy Tull, admits she went to police with this letter from two doctors who had never even seen the girl, but who said any elective abortion could potentially cause medical and emotional damage to the mother at any stage of pregnancy.
I thought there was a child in danger.
That was enough for the county prosecutor, and in the middle of the night, police took the girl, 23 weeks pregnant, from her parents. Officers brought the girl to the Blair police station and held her here for several hours before taking her to a foster home. She then waited 2 days for a hearing in which the judge ruled she could go home on one condition, that she not have an abortion.
No one said, you know, we shouldn't be doing this. This isn't right. We're violating this young woman's rights. We're violating this family's rights. Yet they proceeded.
Under court order, the girl delivered the child last December. And now she and her family are charging Heath Mayfield and a handful of local authorities with violating her constitutional rights. The suit even charges a sheriff's deputy who allegedly pushed anti-abortion literature on them. Now community authorities find themselves in the center of a national debate, and two teenagers have a little girl who may someday ask some very tough questions. Diana Olick, CBS News, Blair, Nebraska.
AIDS researchers in Europe today reported some of the strongest evidence yet that a combination of two AIDS drugs may significantly prolong the lives of patients. They say those given the drug AZT, along with either DDI or DDC, had survival rates almost 40% higher than those treated with AZT alone. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, Italy's trial of the century. And later, should American jurors be allowed to discuss a case before deliberations? In one state, they already do.
Got any Tylenol, Mike? No, but I've got this. Oh, no thanks. My doctor says ibuprofen can interfere with my high blood pressure medication.
My dad uses these, and he takes medicine for his blood pressure.
My doctor told me to use Tylenol. I mean, it works great, and he says it's safer for me.
I wonder if my dad knows this.
If you take ibuprofen, there are many reasons why Tylenol may be safer for you.
Look, I'll see you in 8 hours, and I'll bring some Tylenol for your dad.
We've got that high-pressure area rolling in across the U.S.
I'm Mr. Crunch. I'm Mr. Munch, trying to reduce fat crunch and munch. 35% less fat than the original. It's still crunchy, nutty, and sweet. Try it. Reduce fat crunch and munch.
It's all your passions in one bite.
Traces of crimson on your toothbrush, bleeding gums.
It's caused by germs. Listerine kills them. It helps prevent the gum disease, gingivitis.
Kill the germs. Spare your gums.
Listerine, the power of prevention.
Men, is gray hair sneaking up on you, right under your nose, making you look too old?
Whoa, it is sneaking up on me. Up here, too.
You need Just for Men Color Gel, made for the hard-to-color gray of mustaches and sideburns. Simply brush in this no-drip gel, and in 5 minutes, rinse. Gray's gone. Your mustache and sideburns blend perfectly with your natural hair color.
That gray won't sneak up on me again.
Just for Men Color Gel, the sure thing for a natural look.
If you've been drinking Ensure, there's a little something you should know. Sustacal has more protein, less fat, and about twice as much calcium. No, Sustacal can't add years to your life, but it might help add life to your years.
They are working late in the O.J. Simpson trial.
And a lot can happen after the evening news.
We're going to keep you up to date.
Tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
2 alleged gang members in Los Angeles appeared in court today in connection with the shooting death of 3-year-old Stephanie Kuhn. 23-year-old Marcus Antonio Luna and 18-year-old Marvin Peck were ordered held on $3.5 million bail each. They are facing murder charges for shooting into the car the child was riding in after the driver took a wrong turn down a dead-end street. Another so-called trial of the century got underway today in Italy. The defendant in this one is a former prime minister charged with consorting with the mafia. Alan Pizzi covered the trial's opening day in Sicily.
In the fortress courtroom known as the Bunker, judges who risk their lives to try mafia dons today faced Italy's most famous political boss. Giulio Andreotti is accused of being a mafia accomplice during the 7 terms he served as prime minister, of protecting drug traffickers and murderers in exchange for political backing. Andreotti's career has been highlighted by mystery and violence. A colleague who committed suicide, others kidnapped, some murdered. Bombings blamed on the Italian Secret Service, anti-mafia judges blown to bits in their cars. Andreotti denies all charges, and he isn't without public support in the trial that Italians claim will make the O.J. Simpson case look minor league.
You know, this country loves funerals and trials. We love that. It's going to be theater, great theater in the best Italian tradition.
And in the best Sicilian tradition, the chief prosecution witnesses are mafia thugs turned informer, men whose families have been gunned down because they broke the mafia code of silence. Andreotti may well claim he had the West's backing to associate with the mafia for the greater good, to fight Italian communists during the Cold War. According to Professor Ferrarotti, here's how Andreotti's argument goes.
Now, I was courageous, crafty, daring enough, almost heroic to associate with them for the salvation of everybody.
But today, Andreotti lost his first court skirmish when the judge allowed TV cameras in, but banned live coverage. Andreotti wanted it. The prosecution argued witnesses might testify according to what they thought the public wanted to hear. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Palermo.
Next up, Eye on America, changing the rules for American juries.
I'm fainting. Walter the dentist is coming over and I got gas. So I take my Lanta gas release gel caps. My Lanta gas has the best and only medicine for gas relief and an advanced gel cap. Now I'm my scintillating self again.
Stop blow dry or dry out with Neutrogena Heat Safe.
Heat Safe works. My hair is shinier, softer, a lot less frizzy when I blow dry. Every day my hair looks better. It's a miracle product.
Stop blow dry or dry out with Neutrogena Heat Safe.
Every time you make a long-distance call, AT&T sends out a signal to check the quality of the line, automatically routing around trouble before you've even finished dialing. Because in business, it all comes back to getting your calls through. Guaranteed network reliability at a competitive price.
Linda, I'd like to bounce an idea off.
Only from AT&T for the life of your business.
There's so much new going on at Red Lobster. Now you'll find 15 dinners under $10 every day. Come in and try something delicious.
Right now, you can enjoy our new Ultimate Trio for just $8.99. Luscious lobster and shrimp scampi served over pasta. Mahi-mahi grilled to perfection. And golden fried shrimp, too.
It's so good.
Our new Ultimate Trio, just $8.99 for a short time. So hurry to Red Lobster.
With 15 dinners under $10, why eat at home?
Hi. Thought you might like a little help. Thanks. My hands.
Should I get your Advil?
I'm trying that new naproxen sodium.
But this has special dosing restrictions for people your age. Your Advil doesn't.
I'm older, 66.
And what if you take this and your pain comes back?
Oh.
You may be in pain for hours before you can take more. Doesn't your doctor recommend Advil for you?
You're right. I'll stick with Advil.
Nothing is proven more effective or longer lasting than Advil. Nothing.
In closing tonight, consider the plight of the Simpson jurors. They've now been cooped up together for a record 259 days, and in all that time, these 14 strangers have been prohibited from discussing the one thing they have in common, the Simpson case. It's a rule one state has decided to scrap, as John Blackstone reports in tonight's Eye on America.
You must remember all my admonitions to you. Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves.
Again and again, Judge Ito has ordered the jury.
Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves.
Gladys Blake heard the same thing when she sat on the jury in a long murder trial in Arizona.
Each time you left the courtroom, the judge would say, and don't discuss this case.
Right.
And what would happen?
It would be discussed. I mean, it was just like, if you don't talk, you're going to go out of your mind.
Blake could have landed in some trouble for her admission, except this man agrees with her.
You know, it's just not natural. It's not natural.
And he's the Chief Justice of Arizona's Supreme Court.
It's kind of hard to be thrown together with a group of people for weeks or months in some cases and never speak to them about what you spend your whole day doing.
All rise. So judges in Arizona are breaking 200 years of tradition in the American jury system, telling jurors they can discuss the case before it's finished.
Remember earlier in the Simpson trial, they charged jury misconduct. They were talking about the case outside the courtroom. We allow you to do it. It's no longer jury misconduct.
Now, after trials, jurors tell Judge Michael Dan that when they can talk to each other, they are better informed and more interested.
We began to develop the camaraderie, and that helps a lot in any kind of decisions that you're going to go ahead and make.
Jurors in Arizona have also been given an important new power. They can submit questions for witnesses.
You're not just sitting there and then making, at the end, you have a decision. You became a part of the case.
The juries that once decided cases here in the old courthouse in Tombstone, Arizona, are famous for rough and ready frontier justice. Critics of the recent jury reform in the state worry the changes may bring a new rush to justice by juries. A reminder of the days when the gallows sat right next to the courthouse.
My client was convicted of first-degree murder. They had been talking about the case throughout the case, and most importantly, before I ever had a chance to say a word on behalf of my client.
Jurors say the reforms don't make justice faster, they make it fairer.
I really think it helped to keep it more equal.
And it cleared up questions along the way that you might have got hung up on.
Any other
questions? The jurors have reached a quick verdict on Arizona's jury reforms. They approve. And they feel sorry for those other famous jurors in Los Angeles who for almost a year have been forbidden to talk about the case that dominates their lives.
I feel for your welfare.
In Arizona, they say serving on a jury should be a duty and not a sentence. In Phoenix, John Blackstone for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. CBS News and this CBS station will keep you up to date on important developments in the Simpson trial. Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News. We'll be back tomorrow. Good night.